Alright, welcome back to the channel MegaWhale team. Thanks for tuning into the video today. Today's video is going to be an analysis for Ethereum. We're taking a look at the technicals, taking a look at the macro, and trying to give you guys a detailed and accurate prediction of where we think the price will be heading in that short term and the long term. Overall, briefly summarizing the chart, Ethereum isn't looking too great right now. We've hit that $3,000 psychological resistance. As you can see, we rejected, and it looks like we're heading back down. So we're going to break it down for you guys today. As you can see, we don't have a lot on the chart. We're going to go through everything step by step, adding in our lines, our trend lines, our patterns, and our indicators as we go. So to start off with, we do have our red lines in. These are our major points of interest on the chart. These are acting as our major horizontal and resistances and horizontal supports. We have our psychological support and resistances of 3,000, 4,000, and 2,500 in as well. So we do have many support and resistance ranges in this chart as well. As you can see down here, if we're at 1,700, just under $1,700, we have a support range which will push us up to about 1,938. So this whole block here is in fact actually a support range. So we're looking at anywhere between 1,700 to 1,900 acting as a support range. We had that, of course, the psychological and major POC line at 1,800, but we can expect, if the price goes down to this level here, to have some sort of bounce anywhere between and in between this gray box, meaning that placing orders within this gray box will be ideal if the price goes that low. So moving up, we can see we have our 2,150 resistance and support. This in fact is a static horizontal support. It is not a range. We're going to leave that as is. Moving up a little bit more, we do have more of a dynamic support over here. We can draw that one in, and again, it is going to be a little bit more of a range for this one on that that horizontal support, which is sitting around 2,500. We can move this one across, and we're going to bring it up just a tiny bit. A much smaller range, but in fact a range nonetheless. All right, and moving up again, our 3,000 resistance is again a standard horizontal resistance. We have a little bit of deviation of resistance, which goes a slight bit above, and you would like to see a break and close above this gray box, which would confirm an ideal entry point. Of course, that is sitting around $3,100. We're just going to delete that because there's no point keeping it in. 3,500 again, a pretty significant resistance range. Again, a little bit of a zone here. You can kind of catch a pattern. Most resistances hold zones. They don't hold just individual points on the chart. They hold ranges, they hold zones, and that's why you hear a term people saying, I like to trade ranges, or it's good to trade ranges, because this is kind of what we're talking about here. All right, moving on up again, we have a little bit of support again over here, a little bit of resistance, should I say, and again, very small range, but a range nonetheless. So we're going to move that one across, and as you can see, these ranges are important, and we're going to describe them in a second. We can see they're perfect points to sell and perfect points to buy. With these crossover points, these red lines are our major points of interest, meaning if we break above, and I'm going to show you, for example, over here. Let me get a pen out. If we break into this range, we can find resistance here, and that could be a perfect sell point. But if we break into the range and over, we can actually come on down and retest it before pushing up. So this range can indicate perfect opportunities to buy and sell. It's very unlikely you just see price action directly shoot right through, particularly in one candle. It is very likely you see prices drop right through on the downwards, though it's more common, as we've seen over here, for instance, as we've seen over here, for instance, and over here. So they're good points on the chart to identify major critical support and resistances. And of course, finally, our 4,800 major all-time high resistance. So the Ethereum chart is looking a little messy. There's a lot going on with the chart, and there's a whole range of different ways we can analyze this. And of course, there's a whole bunch of different market patterns I can derive from this chart. The first and foremost, and the one that stands up to me the most, would be a standard parallel channel. Now we can draw a parallel channel in many ways. I personally going to jump down to, let's go to a 12-hour chart to draw this channel in. and I like to take it from about over here. We're going to draw it down and push it up. And we can see this is kind of a parallel channel that we're finding ourselves in. And we've had a bit of deviation, of course, deviation over here. Again, touching that support resistance zone, pushing up and rejecting back down to it. And that's why you can see these support and resistance zones are perfect places to be looking for entries and exits. Obviously, a W formation pattern here, inverted, indicating a move downwards, very obvious point of rejection. And we're seeing a similar thing occur over here. We're having that rejection over. We've got the rejection of the 3000. We're over the midline, so there's a chance we can push higher if we find support, but most likely we're going to come on down again and retest that. At the moment, we are ranging between a major resistance and a major support. Obviously, with the 3000 point being our trigger, if we break over $3,000, find a support on it, we can definitely push up into this range, which will be $3,500 to $3,600. In saying that, if we reject and we close below, I would say this line here, which is sitting at around 2,800, it would confirm that we will be going to lows. That is about $2,500. So that's one way we can do it with the channel. Another way we can do it, we can draw in our trend lines, and of course it is a little messier on here. We do have our trend line, which we can draw upwards here. We can find and make sure that it is in fact a trend line, because again, we have our retest, we have a retest, we have a retest rejection, a retest support, and a retest support. So that is in fact our trend line. Again, that positions itself just underneath that major support zone, which is sitting around 2,500, indicating if we do lose the 2,500, the next target is going to be $2,153, which will be down here, finding support before moving up. And then what we can do, either we can use this one as a channel again and copy and paste that one up and look for a channel resistance, which could be lower, again indicating over here. And this could be all deviation above, so let's draw a brush, or deviation over here. Of course, we're very, very bullish in the market. And then obviously rejection and retest continuing down. So overall, Ethereum, what I'd like to see is a break over $3,000, a retest and reclaim of $3,000 as support before a move upwards to about 3,500. Until then, I am still looking for that downward direction, looking for an entry somewhere between the $2,500 and $2,100 mark. So that is about it for the analysis on the chart. Let's take a look at the technicals. Let's bring up some of the numbers and run through it. So we're looking at the 200-day moving average on the 1 day and 50 SMA on the 1 day chart too. So we talked about that 2,800 zone being that major zone we need to kind of hold, otherwise we're going to see a break downwards, and we have confirmation of that on this 50 SMA. We can see the 50 SMA is kind of sitting on the 2,800, meaning if we lose that 50 SMA, we will definitely come back down to this zone. Obviously very bearish, but that is what will most likely happen. And we're looking at that 200-day moving average. Of course, the 200-day moving average is sitting up in this major resistance zone, acting as a huge resistance up over here. Of course, flipping $3,000 can push us up to that zone here to find resistance again. Obviously, we'll have to analyze as the chart continues and gets to that point. Let's bring up the bull market support band, and of course, we'll go to a weekly for the bull market support band, and we can see we are still ranging massively underneath the bull market support band on the weekly. Not that much data can be taken from this chart. We are ranging under, therefore we are in a downtrend. If we move down to a 5-day, we can start to see what's occurring a little bit more, which is a convergence of that bull market support band downwards. And we are actually almost having a flip on the bull market support band. So in that 3-day chart, we are within the bull market support band. Obviously, again, rejected, finding support on it on the 2-day. And obviously on the 1 day, we are slightly above it with no intention to hold it. So in my opinion, I think we go a little bit lower. But of course, if we do flip $3,000, it is going to be looking a little bit more optimistic, as we will have this another green candle on the 2-day, on the 3-day, and we'll be closing above that bull market support band on the 3-day chart. All right, we're going to bring up our RSI and we're going to bring up our MACD. So we're going to start on that 3-day chart, and we can see Actually, you know what? We'll start on the 5-day chart, and we can see a little bit of convergence going on over here. Obviously, in a MACD, it's not really crossing what we'd like to see yet. It is still moving steadily downwards, and we can see we have that resistance here. Of course, breaking that resistance on the RSI will be the perfect entry point for a continuation higher. Obviously, the RSI, I've done a video on the RSI and how to trade the RSI. So if you want information on how to use the RSI and trade it to your advantage, go ahead and take a look at that video. It's in our Learn to Trade section. MACD converging upwards. Obviously, some bullish divergence on that MACD over here. Price increasing a little bit here. MACD decreasing. Same thing going on over here, guys. So personally, I don't really love the look of Ethereum right now. I would rather wait. I'm definitely not in a rush to be buying in this market. If we go down to the smaller time frames, we can see in more detail that we are in fact quite overbought. Sorry, have kind of a rounded top forming over here, and a most likely direction will be down. Similar pattern to if we take a look at Bitcoin now, we have this ascending wedge pattern. We talked about the ascending wedge pattern yesterday in a video for Bitcoin, suggesting a move downwards, and we do have that rejection, that break, and most likely continue downwards. All right, guys, I tried to get through a bunch of information in this video. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Obviously, I cannot cover absolutely everything. There's just too much to go over in a 10-minute video, and I really like to keep my videos nice and short and sharp. If you have any more questions, leave them down below. And if you take anything away from today's video, make sure to remember $3,000 is a major resistance. And if we flip the $3,000 mark and we get above that bull market support band, we are looking for a push higher. Until then, expect lows. Don't sit there and have a bullish bias or a bearish bias. Don't say it's definitely going to go down or it's definitely going to go up. It is more likely to go a certain direction. So at the moment, it is more favorable to continue downwards. There are definitely ways this chart can flip, and it's all reliant on Bitcoin right now. If we go look at Bitcoin right now, we are seeing this kind of ascending broadening channel / rising wedge, of course a bearish formation, but we do have a lot of support here. If we zoom out to the daily, we have a lot of support here on this yellow line, which is our long-term uptrend, as well as the 42,600 support. So we could bounce here and continue higher. That would result in Ethereum also moving upwards. Okay guys, I'm going to wrap it up there. I will catch you in the next video.